going on, guys? It's Mike. It's Solo Shenanigans. You know what I'm up to. You know what I'm finishing. Keyword finishing. The Duramax will be done 100% at the end of this video. You have my guarantee on that. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna give this old girl a fresh breath of air. It's relatively decent weather outside. It's not supposed to rain, so we'll back it out, clean this cesspool of a garage, and we'll get started on painting our shocks. So without further ado, let's get started. Sorry for the background noise. I'm gonna let it run for a little bit. You can see how filthy it is. Yeah, it needs a good cleaning. And so does my garage. That'll take a few seconds for you. It'll take probably a few hours for me. All right, we got a nice power wash floor. Smells like Simple Green in here. And we got our tool cart cleared off. And now we're gonna clean up these shocks. These are Blistine 5100s, I think. Oh, hold on, I can confirm this in a minute. It says Blistine, but what's the number, damn it? The number, I don't know, they're Blistines. Anyway, we're gonna clean these things up and we're gonna tape them off and we're gonna spray them up and make them look pretty again. So here we go. Yep, right there. It says it right above my finger, 5100. All right, we got our primer on there. And before I hear any comments of any kind, I know I should have taken these off. It's not a big deal. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna have these shocks anyway. This is just to make all that nice black paint on the frame look a little nicer when you have nice shiny brand new looking shocks on it. When I think of Blistine shocks, I think of the yellow shock and the blue boot, but these were obviously silver and those are obviously black. But I'm gonna try this. I know this is the kind of paint you're supposed to use for marking the ground for some things and roads and stuff. I guess a road line yellow, so we'll give it a shot. If it's good for the ground, I guess it's good for metal, so we'll see how it works. There's about 3 coat, if not more. It's just, this stuff seems okay. It's kind of like a matte yellow, but that's all right. But it gets everywhere. It's really powdery stuff. It's all over the place. I'm not gonna put them on now. I'll wait till they'll sit for a few days before I install them. But we'll show over here that this dumbass made the biggest mistake of leaving this window down when I was working on it inside. So ew. So I got to do some serious cleaning because it's probably all dusty. And then we'll get to this cool guy right here. It's time to clean out this disgusting dusty interior. So we're going to use the old Meguiar's non-greasy formula that cleans, shines, and protects. So we're going to get to work on cleaning this, and it even smells nice. Well, I am by no means a professional detailer, but that is 1,000 times nicer. It's a new day and it is time for our CTS3 installation. Now, when I bought this truck, it had a CTS2 monitor already with it when I bought it, and it worked really well, and I really liked seeing what was going on when I was driving. Check engine lights, injector balance rates, touchscreen stopped working correctly, so it was time. I did everything I could to save it, but apparently they just wear out over time. So we now have our CTS3, so let's install it and see how it does. Let's take a look at the box. Ooh, fancy. Fancy, fancy. Ooh, there's the screen. How much bigger is the new screen versus the old one? Pretty close to the same. Definitely sleeker looking than the older model. Let's see. Stickers. Ooh, yeah. Little guide, little booklet. What's this? A sticker? Ah, another sticker. Sweet. I used to have this one. I used to have it sitting like right here. And it was kind of nice, but it kind of wasn't. I had it sitting over here when I first got it. It was kind of an eyesore, so I want to try to put it up here. Let's get our wire. This wire plugs into the OBD2 port, and then you just have to simply route it up through the dash up to where you want it. We got it all routed. Doesn't even look like it except for that plug there. Well, look at that. That was easy. Gauges. And I guess it's linking with the computer to tell me what gauges it can use. Let's check for updates. This thing's really cool so far. I entered some of my information and hooked it up to my Wi-Fi from my house, and it's actually downloading updates, which is really neat because all I got to do is pull up to the house if it needs to update. Because with this one, I actually had to plug it into the computer, go on a website. It was annoying because half the time the thing glitched out, didn't want to update right. I'll check back in a few minutes. Well, it's been about 10 minutes so far. We're about a little more than halfway there, so time for a break. Gotta love your coffee. We're updated, we got our gauges. I did a little bit of fooling around. I gotta add more gauges that I want, but so far I have my boost up here and I have my vane position sensor there, and when I change the tune, you'll see the position sensor changes. That's more of a stock tune, and then when you open it back to a street tune, the vanes are open more. That gives what gives it that rumble sound. But we got engine RPMs. We got our engine coolant temp. I'm going to change this to transmission temp right below it. So much to choose from. Transmission fluid temperature. Now that we got our Edge CTS3 all hooked up and ready to go, we can now install our body mounts. These are S&B body mounts. They come with everything new metal, new hardware, new plastic guards for the top, new bolts. Got installation instructions for QR code. We will leave a link into the description down below with a part number. I'm not going to go into full detail with this because we have a video about how to install these on Ricky's truck, which is basically the same thing as that truck. So if you want further details about how to do this, watch that video. It's been a couple days since I put the body mounts on. I figured I'd talk about stuff I did off of camera, just because I'm shooting to get this thing put back together within the next couple days. I mean, for you guys, it's going to be a couple of minutes. We'll start over here. We've got our cross members are in. Our new sending unit, new lock ring is in. We've got our new return line run for the lift pump on the factory. This was a ground strap and that snapped for some reason. I ended up taking just a piece of wire I had, grounding it to this. I had an old GM bolt that I just ground the head down to modify so that sits flush. There's a lead to the wire that goes here all the way down to the frame. We got our shocks installed and painted. I ended up clear coating those because just looking at them, they got dirty. We got our hideaway hitch installed. We've got our frame supports in with our hard blind bracket welded to it. I've put the bump stops back in. Well, I got all the extra goodies in the back here. This is a new tailgate plastic cover for the top of the tailgate. These are our new taillights. These are smoked and they are sequential. At least that's what it said on the box or on the when I ordered them. So hopefully, there's a couple other odds and ends in there. There's a tailgate handle and bezel. Everything's packed up. We're ready to go. Got to get this thing to the shop and install the bed. I'm excited. I'm super excited. I'm very happy right now. So I'll bring you guys over to the shop. We'll set up a time lapse. We'll get everything all put back together. All right, we got some serious frustration. Of course, my biggest fear was stripping the bolt that holds the lift pump in. Well, guess what I did? I stripped the bolt that holds the lift pump in. So we ended up drilling a hole through the bed floor, through the bracket, and now the lift pump is solid. But it's on. I'm also pissed at these freaking taillight lenses because the assholes never notched a spot out for this. So I plugged this in and it wouldn't line up. I'm like, oh my God, they're the wrong ones. But no, there's no notch here. So I actually have to take take a grinder or something to open that up so it fits flush. I'm gonna need to just get these taillights in so I can drive it home legally. We also have our flip bracket here for the plate to access the hideaway hitch. She's home. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get our new tailgate handle and chrome bezel in. We're gonna get our top of our tailgate guard in. And I noticed that when I went to we put the bed on, there's no plastic kit holder. So we'll have to extract it from this bed. These are a Torx 30, so I think it's these two bolts here, and then there's a plastic clip here, and I think that's all that holds it in. And out it goes. There we go. I want to say that's the finished project for that right there. That is solid. It's not going nowhere. Next, we're going to do this tailgate handle. Now, this one's not hooked up, but there's these metal rods that go into these plastic clips, and then they get locked in. There's these bolts right here, and those 3 bolts hold it on. In order to get this open, I have to pull those 2 rods together, and the tailgate will open, and then we will install our new chrome trim bucket piece and our new chrome handle. And there you have it, finished product. Opens up. Next for the tailgate guard up here. All right, I have the top of the tailgate plastic installed. I did not film this because I had issues. Like most things with this truck so far, I've had some issues. If you're wondering why one of these bolts is silver and the rest are black, it's a very touchy subject that I don't want to discuss. Essentially, from the factory, all these tailgates have 4 holes in them. Some of the factory 1500s, fancy 1500s, came with this sportier looking tailgate cap, and I think it looks nicer. It's really sporty. I like it. So I wanted to go with it on the Duramax. Well, from factory, there's just holes. So you need to get one of these tools to insert a rib nut behind it. Now, the issue and difficulty I had was, I don't know if they sell these. I'm assuming they do in metric kits, but like an idiot, I bought the standard kits and didn't think anything of it. And I wanted to use what the tool supplied. So I just went ahead and put them all in, and then found out, well, guess what? The bolts that you just put in are standard, and the bolts that's supplied with this kit are metric. I had to run to Ace and get some bolts. Not a big deal. Again, don't want to talk about this one. Touchy subject. It's on, it's solid. And then last, but certainly not least, we have our little light for the license plate to be wired in. Actually, I lie. Before I install that, I want to install bed liner because there's nothing wrong with it, and this bed will not need it anymore, so I'd like to at least utilize it. And I know what everybody's going to say, oh well, it has spray-on liner. Well, I don't like the way how ugly it is. There's holes in the floor from the 5th wheel hitch mounts that were in this bed, and then of course my big ginormous ugly bolt and washer all the way in the corner that I had to drill to hold the lift pump on. I want all that covered. Top of that, I got a tonneau cover right over there. So well, that was easier than I thought. Is there a date? 2006. I had a 5th wheel hitch at one point. More rot. Go figure. This bed floor was a lot worse than I expected it. Tonneau cover on, bed liner in. I don't like the way this new tailgate cover interferes with the tonneau cover, but it's okay. I'll live with it. I put a different bolt in here so it's black, so you have to really look hard to notice, but it helped me out. Last but certainly not least, we got our roll pan license plate light. It's got some hardware here. We're going to install that right above our license plate. We have to just cut one of these, splice it into this. Should be good. Got our plug. This is our factory harness, so everything should work properly, and then we'll be done. We got our light wired in. Yes, it's dark. I took a break, came back out, finished that up. Let's turn the lights on real quick. Hey, look at that. We got our license plate light. Sweet. That's the end of this video. Before we end it, there is a couple of things I'd like to discuss about the project of itself from start to finish. When I went into this build, it was essentially find a bed that's relatively clean, have it bodywork, have it painted, pull the old bed off, throw the new bed on, be right as rain. Anybody that works on cars, trucks, they know that's never the case. I pulled that old bed off and we found nothing but problems. I found a used bed. My buddy Travis that did the work, it did a phenomenal job. After we pulled the old bed off, one cross member turned into 2 cross members, turned into a sending unit, turned into fresh diesel fuel, turned into more hose to reroute the return for the lift pump, turned into cutting out inner frame panels because they rotted from the inside out. My only 3 gripes with the whole thing, those tail lights, they sucked to put in. They didn't line up right. I had to use tech screws to get those in. When I backed it out, one of the tail light brake lights was out. Turns out, just bad timing, I suppose, but the socket that the bulb originally connected to was no good. I have a couple of those harnesses laying around. Cut a good one off, spliced it all together, and we got a brake light again. Third part that I was not happy about. When I was under there doing those body mounts, I took a look. I saw this. This is a half shaft. It's not supposed to do that. That's a Detroit axle CV shaft. I bought, it was like a bundle deal. 2 CV shafts, front and rear brakes, rotors, pads for like 250 bucks. And I'm thinking, wow, that's not a bad deal at all. The passenger side of the truck, the half shaft blew, the boot was torn. And I figured, okay, well, you know what? I might as well, they're the same size. You can put one on each side. It doesn't matter which side. I might as well buy them both. I'll throw the new one on and I'll have an extra one. Within a week, this clamp let go on the other one, and I had grease spraying everywhere. Within a week. Say about 6 months later, the other side let go. And I said, all right, well, I guess I'll install the other side. I try not to drive my truck like an asshole. I don't boost launch with it. I don't jump that truck. I don't drive that truck hard. I baby that truck to a point. I just got done throwing another one on. That's why I'm all filthy. I just literally just got done with that. I will not be buying Detroit axle stuff again. Anyway, back to the project. Yeah, so once everything got welded in, but that whole truck project was like picking a scab. You get one thing done, and then you find 2 more things you got to do. Frame plates turned into, oh man, I got a roll pan. I want to throw a roll pan on that truck. Well, you got a roll pan, you should really run a hideaway hitch. Okay, you know, and that turned into trimming that cross member in the back. That wasn't too bad. Then it turned into, well, I used to have this Edge CTS3. I would really like a new one because I loved having that. The body mounts. The old body mounts were pretty shitty. So I'm like, well, I went with S&B. So overall, I am all the modifications that were made. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. That's my thoughts on this whole project. I want to know yours. So please, again, subscribe, like, comment, share, and don't forget to check out the awesome content on the C10 project. So with that being said, this is Twisted Ignition. Have yourselves a great one, and we hope to catch you on the next one.